Michael Edwards, Vistage Chair for Nebraska, and I have with us in the studio Kyle Schneweis, who is CEO of High Street Consulting. Vistage, for those of you who are not familiar, is the world's largest leadership development firm for CEOs and C-suite. 46,000 plus members in 35 countries, and 67 years old, doing exactly the same thing today that it did on day one. And that is help CEOs and other leaders become better at what they do. Kyle is CEO of High Street Consulting, which I guess is based in Lincoln because you're here. Your firm is all over the place. You were remote before remote was a thing, and works very well for you. Before becoming CEO of High Street Consulting, Kyle was Director of Transportation for the state of Nebraska, which I believe is the second largest state agency in the state. He was responsible for over 2,000 employees and a budget of over $2 billion. So I would say it's fair that you are no stranger to leadership challenges. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Having me, Michael. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Okay. Tell me about High Street Consulting, the company, the people, goals, mission.
Sure. Well, I mean, the basics, in terms of who we are and what we do, we provide consulting advice to people who own transportation systems. So largely government, states, the federal government, some cities. And the consulting advice generally is around decision making. So we try to help them make better decisions, either everything from sort of operational kinds of things out into planning for the future. And we offer a suite of services that includes very technical things like building applications to help people compile their data to better understand it and lead to better decisions, to the very other end of the spectrum on the more policy side, the outreach side, the engagement with stakeholders to get the buy-in to accomplish the things you want to do. And we got about 42 people, I believe, now. You mentioned we're virtual. That's true. We were founded in 2008. And at that time didn't have an office, and still don't have an office. So our folks live all over the country. We've got people in probably about 20 states. It's a good thing for us. It's a challenge. Obviously, being virtual can be a challenge, but generally, I think it's good. It helps us to recruit. We don't really have to worry about where you live, so that sort of opens up the number of candidates in a large way. And I think we attract people who are interested in a remote environment. And so generally it works very well for us. There's some challenges. We've got onboarding is a challenge, training is a challenge. But of course, after 15 years, we've gotten pretty good at being able to do those things. And I think generally are very successful. We didn't used to tell people that we were virtual because in 2008, people didn't understand what that meant. And because we were so small and so new, we were careful to protect our image, if that makes sense. People didn't it was you'd get asked these questions, are you even a real firm? Because you don't have an office and you're very small. So eventually our clients would sort of figure out, hey, you're working from your house. That's unusual. But nowadays, of course, it's very common, and especially in the last 3 or 4 years. And so I think that has actually helped us in recruiting, because people recognize that a remote job is the thing that you can find. And so people are looking for that in some cases, and they come to us. So it serves us pretty well. Our firm is founded on a few other principles that I think are important and have helped us be successful. We offer a pretty flexible working environment. Obviously, being remote, that's part of it. We want our people to live full lives in and out of work. And so we try to be very accommodating for those kinds of things. But I like to tell people the flexibility goes both ways. Sometimes when things are hot and heavy here at High Street, we ask for our folks to be available and to help us be successful. And so that understanding that we have with the people that work here has helped us be successful. I think it's part of why people like to be a part of High Street, and it's something that I think has served us very well. The main thing that we talk about is that you can't let people down, and as long as you're available and thoughtful and considerate and you're dependable to both our clients and each other, then flexibility is yours. And we don't really worry too much about the details of that flexibility, as long as the main metric is are you available and dependable and there for your clients and for your team. And if that's the case, then we consider it a success.
Yeah, that's good. I've observed that you're growing pretty quickly, especially this year.
We have grown. We've averaged about 15% growth over the life of our firm. We're off to a good start. Here we are. I guess it's halfway through the year now. We did about $8 million in revenue for our firm in 2023, and we've booked about 7 million through the first half of this year. So having a good year. We're growing. We're hiring. Just brought on 5 people here this summer. So
Great. That's great.
as a consulting firm and the small one, a lot of the firms that we engage with are hundreds, thousands of people. And so being a small little firm, one of the challenges is figuring out, okay, do we have the right resources to deliver for our clients?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of a wild ride sometimes of you're either worried about how you're going to keep people busy, and then the next day you're worried about how you're going to even deliver all this work. So
that's
kind
I
of
gotcha. Yeah.
daily
You're trained as a civil engineer. Are most of your employees engineers?
We have a few engineers. Our typical employee profile is a little different than many of our competitors. Most of us we all have a undergraduate degree, but it varies there's a couple engineers, a couple planners, which is what you might typically see. But we have a lot of folks who have a variety of backgrounds in education. What is most common is that our folks have some sort of postgraduate degree in public policy. And so things like that you might have a computer science degree or an economics degree or even a linguistics degree, but fell in love with public policy and especially the transportation side of it. And those are the folks that we generally look for and attract. And we don't worry too much about what your undergraduate degree was in. Our work is so varied in what we're asked to support our clients in, that it's really about being able to do research, being able to understand how decisions impact the people of our country, and how we can help these agencies make better decisions to do their job better. And transportation, people who aren't in transportation, it's sort of maybe a given, or it's something that you think of as a necessary evil that you must participate in as you go about your daily life. But for those in transportation, we really understand the impact that it has on quality of life. Able to get where you need to go easily and efficiently, being able to do it safely, being able to know that transportation system is going to be there when you need it to be there. And whether it's economic impacts, the safety impacts, knowing being able to make the system work as well as it can possibly work. And when it does, it's like that old saying, like, how was your trip? Anytime you go somewhere, well, how was your trip? We want that trip to go well. And that's what our firm is here to do, and to help these agencies.
That's good. That's good. Why did you join Vistage?
Well, I think there's a couple things. When you mentioned my previous role as the DOT director here in Nebraska, and in that role, I was lucky to be a part of a peer group when I really needed it. That was a big job, and I was in over my head a little bit, and having a peer group of other directors from around the country who were facing some of the same challenges was really pivotal and instrumental in me being able to learn and grow and gain confidence and be successful. And so when I came back to High Street in a leadership role, it was it was something that I knew I kind of needed, or knew I could benefit from, to go from a public sector role to now trying to manage and grow a business. Those are two different things. There's some similarities, obviously, but in terms of leadership, but the expertise you need to be successful can be very different. And so I was looking for something, and then Michael, you reached out at a time when I was kind of in this place where I knew I needed to find some group to be able to help me grow and be successful. And so that's what it came down to, really, was that I was in need, and you reached out. I hadn't taken the step of trying to find anything yet, but it was an easy yes for me once we met and we talked about Vistage and I learned about what the offerings were. It was a no-brainer.
That was good timing for both of us then.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think the particular benefits of a peer group environment are?
Well, I think especially in a CEO role, um, it can be lonely sometimes in a leadership role. I'm lucky to have business partners that I have a lot of trust with, and we can solve problems together. But we're all looking at it from our point of view, and we're looking at it through the same lens of our company. And I think when you can step away and have a trusted group of people who are in similar roles, um, you can really push the limits of what you can learn and what perspectives you can see. And that's what I've experienced with our group. We have a very diverse group, but people who are very supportive and want to help each other. And so, you know, having that sounding board, being able to work together to solve issues and think through tough topics. There's no better way to sort of open up your mind and be challenged in a way that when you come back to work, you're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Describe a little bit more of the culture of the group.
You know, our group is really strong. It's been growing, and Michael, that's a testament to you. We've got a full membership or close to it, and I think it ranges from very, very small companies and very, very new leaders to large companies with very experienced leaders. And I love that dynamic because sometimes, obviously someone who's been around the block and has been a part of a very successful business for a long time can bring a lot of insights to the group. But sometimes it's the new folks who are looking at things from a very new perspective that can surprise you in terms of the questions they can ask or the insights they might have. And so we've got a good blend of that. We've got a great mix of the kinds of different industries. And so, that's a really healthy thing to have. It means that sometimes the topics aren't always as relevant. I'm working with government clients versus somebody who's maybe in manufacturing. Those are very two different things. But the diversity of that group of those different experiences, I think, makes it more well-rounded. And with our group, at least, even if it's an area where I don't have a ton of expertise to offer, I can learn a lot from the conversation. And sometimes you never know what kind of experience might translate. And so, and then just we have the good basics that you want in any peer group, open communication, a lot of trust. Nobody's holding back. People are vulnerable. don't hesitate to be that way. And I think, that helps with the conversations and it helps everybody just be more honest with each other, which is important.
Yep, absolutely. One thing you all have in common, even though you're in different industries, is you all have common sense. You all have business sense. And you mentioned a good example. You've been in the public sector. You're working in transportation primarily. Others may be in manufacturing, but you all have the common sense that can help each other figure things out.
Yeah, and really good intentions. I mean, people come to our meetings with sort of an open mind and an open heart and good intentions to help each other. And I think
Sure.
that's important.
Yeah. One of the concepts of Vistage membership is monthly meetings for CEOs. We have practically all day meetings once a month.
Mhm.
How do you manage your time commitment to Vistage? You're a busy guy. I mean,
Yeah,
you're all very busy.
yeah.
And I've always told you that you need to pay attention to your business and your family needs and the like. But how do you manage that? How do you manage to take care of that?
Well, I think for me, um, a day away a month, it is a commitment. Um, but it's such an investment in myself and in our firm that I have no trouble prioritizing it. Um, there are if the day-to-day operations of a business, you do not get a chance to step away and reflect and think about where you are and where you're headed. And if you don't schedule time to do that, I have found it's very difficult to do it. And you end up, you know, day after day after day, grind after grind. And then you look back and you think, man, are we headed in the right direction? And we have leadership retreats where we talk about those things, but that's, it's once a year, it's once a quarter. And I think for me, that once a month, step away, learn a little bit, have some conversations, and it's really a chance to catch my breath and reflect on what we're up to and where we're headed. And then the content of the meetings also almost always sparks ideas about ways we could do things better or initiatives that would help us be successful. And so it keeps that side of my thinking. It's that steady drumbeat of it that I think is invaluable. And without having it on the calendar and having a group that holds you accountable, it's very difficult to find time to do that. And so for me, it's easy to prioritize, and I value it enough that you get it on the calendar and you show up that day,
Yep.
no
Well,
matter how busy
I
you
tell
are.
the members get the Vistage meeting on your calendar and then schedule around it rather
Yeah,
than
I mean, yeah, that's the
the other way
basics, right?
around.
That's the basics is plan for it. But I think it's about being able recognizing the value in prioritizing um, what we're trying to accomplish and what we're hoping to get out of the group. And for me, that's easy to do.
Okay. What other values do you see in the monthly meeting? You do have interaction with each other, but there are other components of the meetings that we have.
Well, we almost always have a speaker, and I have been so impressed with the quality of the speakers. Um, I mean, these are professional speakers who do this and have a lot of experience, and then the variety of topics that we discuss. I mean, certainly it's things you would expect. It's sales and marketing, it's business operations, it's how to grow your business, things like valuation, and for us as a firm that's a partnership, how do we manage our partner? You learn about all those things. But it's also the softer side. It's those sort of how do you have tough conversations? How do you create a culture in your company that allows your people to feel part of something and to be engaged? Um, and so it's everything from the nuts and bolts of running a business to some real leadership kinds of conversations. And so the speakers are great, almost universally consistently awesome. And so that part is a part of the meeting that is always valuable. And then when we get into the afternoon where we do our issues and we talk about the challenges that we may be facing, especially when you have a group that begins to know each other and that trusts each other, the conversation is always stimulating and interesting. If we've got a full group of 12 and everybody's not everybody maybe has an issue that day, but the conversation is very robust. And it's funny the things that come up. Sometimes it's just very X's and O's kinds of things, like how do I manage my board meetings better? Or I've got an employee that I'm trying to get more out of or get on the same page with. It varies, but they're all things that we've dealt with at some point or know we will. And so, it's a good chance to help each other and think about and learn about ways that we can all approach any
Yeah,
issue facing
you
better.
all come in with the same size shoe, and you've
Mhm.
all been in other people's shoes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that works well. Another thing that we do on a monthly basis is what we call a one-to-one, and
Mhm.
that's where the chair gets together with the member on a one-on-one basis. In fact, you and I are doing that this afternoon
Yeah.
uh, for this month. What kind of value do you get out of that? What do you see happening in those sessions?
Well, I don't know how others approach it, Mike, but for you and I, we usually end up talking about the X's and O's of the business. How's how are bookings going? How's your revenue going? How's staffing going? Do you got any challenges there? And so um, for me, that's a good opportunity to almost check in on how our KPIs and our goals are going, and to have a chance to almost be interviewed by you to to and because you ask questions and you dig in, and sometimes I've got good answers and sometimes I don't, and that's when it's fun to go back and think about it. But we also think through some of those things together. So it's valuable, and again, it's another chance for me to spend an hour with somebody that wants to help, that is there as a resource, and that can push me and push our firm to be better.
Yeah, good. There are opportunities to get to know each other better,
Mhm.
for me to get to know you and your business better, and
Mhm.
uh, and the people you depend on in your business, and it's a chance for me to as you say, dig a little bit to see if there's anything that might not have occurred to you that you could bring to the group to see if you
Mhm.
get some help on.
Yeah.
I've always told all of you, I don't coach you. I teach you to coach each other,
Mhm.
and it works well.
Well, the other thing we talk about
Yeah.
often is the group itself and where we're headed, and whether it's topics we need to explore, or how the group dynamics can improve.
Hmm.
And so it's a little bit of a chance to reflect on our group as a individual participating in the group with the leader of the group, and try to make sure we're on the right path.
Sure. Well, we're at 13 members right now. We'll probably get to 15 or 16. And
Mhm.
beyond that, I'm not much interested in herding cats. So
Mhm.
we'll probably go there. And it's been a process. It's not for everyone, but I think we've got an excellent group. And as you say, it's a very diverse group. And
Mhm.
we learn and we have a lot of fun doing it. So I have enjoyed talking to you today. Thank you for joining us in the studio, and we will go from there. And I'll see you this afternoon.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.